Okay, good evening and welcome to the League of Women Voters Whatcom County Forum for candidates for the Bellingham Port Commissioner District Number 2. My name is Janet Ott and I'm your moderator for this evening. So the land we stand on is the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Lummi and Nooksack people, the original inhabitants of Washington's northernmost coast and southern British Columbia. Please join me in deep gratitude for their ongoing wisdom and guidance as we honor their ancestors and acknowledge the Lummi and Nooksack people as the original inhabitants of this land. So, founded in 1920, the League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. Our mission is empowering voters, defending democracy, and to that end, we provide candidate forums so voters can make an informed voting decision. The League never endorses a candidate or a party. Membership is open to both men you are welcome, and women 16 years old and older, and we invite you all to join. It's a great group of people. We often say democracy is not a spectator sport. So with that, we'll get started. Tonight's forum is for the Bellingham Port Commissioner District 2 candidates. There are two candidates on the ballot, and I would like to introduce Ken Bell and Carly James. The port's mission is to promote sustainable economic development, optimize transportation gateways, and manage publicly owned land and facilities to benefit Whatcom County. The Board of Commissioners is a nonpartisan, three-person elected body that oversees all Port of Bellingham operations by providing policy direction and decisions in public meetings. The commissioners each represent one of three districts in Whatcom County. Commissioners serve four-year terms. Check the port's website, but they generally meet on the first and third Tuesday of the month, and the public can participate by Zoom via their website. So we will follow some specific rules for this debate. There will be no opening statements. Instead, the introductory question is tailored to elicit responses consistent with opening statements. Candidates will have 1.5 minutes to respond to each question and will make a 1-minute closing statement. The order of questions and closing statements is by seat alphabetically. This will be rotated every question. Each candidate has a challenge card, so hold up your challenge cards, folks. So candidates may use this card to challenge or rebut their opponent's response. After being recognized by myself, the challenging candidate will have 30 seconds to state the challenge, and his or her opponent will have 30 seconds to respond to the challenge. Each candidate may use their challenge card only one time. So we have a timer. Eileen McCracken will be tracking the time. So the timer is up in one of the windows. The timer background will flash to yellow when there are 15 seconds left and then to red when your time is up. So I will ask you to stop talking at that time if necessary. We ask that you both be respectful of the time allotted due to the limited amount of time we have and our desire to include as many questions as possible. So with the rules covered, let's get started. Timer, are you ready, Eileen?
I'm ready.
Okay. So here's the first question. And Ken, the first question will start with you because your last name is Bell. Um, what is the most significant issue facing the port today? And what is your strategy to address that issue? Go ahead, Ken.
Uh, Thank you for this opportunity. I want to thank the League of Women for this forum because it's an important forum. I think more people watch this than any other venue that we're on. So I appreciate the opportunity. The most important opportunity that we've missed or that we're looking forward to is the resurrection of jobs in our community. It's my belief that the shipping terminal and the airport industrial park offer the greatest opportunities for us to bring working wages into the community. The port's mission is to do economic development and solely that. It is not a regulatory body. So we don't deal with regulations or zoning, but we specifically focus on bringing working wage jobs and careers to our waterfront. So the most significant task in front of us is to make sure that we clear a pathway so that we can bring the most valuable asset we have, which is our working waterfront area. We have shoreline and we have access to open water, which is something they don't have in Kansas. And we have the ability to maximize, now that we've cleaned it up, our shipping terminal and our shoreline areas to do nothing but economic development. We have the same thing at the airport where we have an industrial park that is zoned for heavy industrial, and it's a free trade zone in the time of tariffs that needs to be developed.
Okay, thank you. So, candidate James. So, the question again was, what was the most significant issue facing the port today, and what is your strategy to address that issue? Go ahead.
Hello, friends and neighbors. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and I'd like to thank my opponent, Ken Bell, for being here with me. My name is Carly James. I'm running for Port Commissioner District 2. I just wanted to take a moment to tell you that I'm a small business owner, I'm an accountant, I'm an artist, I'm a musician. I've lived and worked in Whatcom County for over 20 years. I own a shop with 2 locations in downtown Bellingham and here on the waterfront at the Granary. Welcome to my shop. I think I have a few things to say about that. We are a community connected to the Salish Sea, and for generations, the water has provided family wage jobs, shaping our culture and sense of place. The water is what drew me and my business down here, and I was excited to be one of the trailblazing businesses that helped define our new downtown Bellingham waterfront. Being here for the past 2 years has given me great insight into the challenges we face, and that's why I'm stepping up to run. This is a pivotal time for the port. We have an executive director to hire. We might have expanded commissions to design. We have a significant area of our downtown to develop. We have undermanaged facilities to modernize, and we have small cities and tribal nations in Whatcom County that deserve as much attention as the waterfront here in Bellingham. I'm running to bring fresh ideas and perspectives to the table, a new voice, and a different style of leadership to the commission.
Okay, thank you. So, question number 2, and we'll start with you, candidate James. Describe your ideal candidate for the new executive director of the port. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and I've actually been reflecting on this. We need an executive director that's willing to listen to the community and build a collaborative vision of what the port can and should be doing. I think that there's some repairing work that needs to be done given some of the stumbles of the past several years. So we need an executive director that truly shares the core values of Whatcom County residents. That means stewardship of our land and water, sustainable prosperity built on family wage jobs and fair labor practices, respect for our community, and a commitment to honoring our maritime heritage while celebrating the creativity and culture that will shape our future. Most importantly, the port's leader must have the skills and demeanor to build a culture of trust, both inside the port organization and with the people it serves. I know, being a leader in my own business, that knowing how to motivate a team so that we can perform as well and give the best results is so important. So that's what I want to see from our new executive director.
Okay, thank you. So, candidate Bell, your question number 2 is describe your ideal candidate for the new executive director of the port. Go ahead.
Oh, if only there were an ideal. I can only say that, and I'll probably answer a question you're going to ask later, but there were some very significant structural problems that needed to be addressed at the port. And they started with the 3 commission structure. And it's one of the hardest jobs. I can't imagine any one person doing it. without a great deal of assistance. And it is difficult because you're dealing with a commission that's political. You're dealing with a commission that's in the community, but is not full-time. You're dealing with a staff of 100 people. So you not only have to manage up, but you have to manage down. So the most important qualities are the ability to adapt. There is an inherent self-awareness that's necessary so that you understand when you need to pivot, when you need help. I think the most important qualities are character. I think they are the ability to pivot, the ability to communicate. The executive director job is very different from the operations job. In the past, the executive directors had to do operations and lead, and it's a very different skill set. So the executive director should have the ability to see around the corner, see down the street, see 10 years away, paint that vision for the operations to take hold. I think we need an executive director with that kind of experience and the ability to communicate well.
Okay, thank you. So question number 3 is about environmental oversight. What are the lessons learned? And actually, we're going to start with candidate Bell for this one. So, what are the lessons learned from the impacts to nearby neighborhoods caused by the metal recycling plant? And how will these lessons affect future decisions, particularly with regard to the pending rail spur expansion? Go ahead.
Yeah, first and foremost, the ABC experience was a mixed bag, and it really did open up our waterfront to let the world know that we're open for business. We as a commission got excited about having the open waterfront, and I think the lesson here was move a little slower, get a little bit more community involvement, which is really what's happened at the commission. Um, Criticism deserved for letting us, we got out over our skis. We certainly didn't let environmental weigh in enough. Let the economic development driver precede the environmental review. And I'm in the business, I'm in the recycling business. I should have known better. So quite frankly, the lesson we learned is much more community involvement, much more communication, and a much more thorough review. And every department needs to weigh in on an equal level and not let one part of the port drive that decision. It needs to be driven by economic development, by environmental, by all of the community outreach that we do. And the lesson was that. And as far as the rail spur goes, we are working towards getting containerized cargo, which is going to be a completely different animal and will be much less impactful.
Okay, thank you. So, candidate James, I'll read the question again.
Yeah.
So, what are the lessons learned from the impacts to nearby neighborhoods caused by the metal recycling plant? And how will these lessons affect future decisions, particularly with regard to the pending rail spur expansion? Go ahead.
So one thing that I've experienced living in Bellingham, doing business here, is it's a phenomenon I call Bellingham time. Things move at a slower pace for good or bad. So we have some really great assets that the port owns. One is the shipping terminal, one is the airport. These, some people would say they're underutilized. I think that they're sleepy. We sort of have these sleepy assets at the shipping terminal and the airport, and we want to wake them up and activate them. The problem is that the time that they've been inactive, or I guess underperforming, our town has moved on and we've built great neighborhoods and community spaces around them. So I think that the lesson here is we really need to step back and acknowledge where we're at with our growth. And how can we move forward with these projects that have so much potential for our local economy, for jobs, for tourism, potential to lift up all of Whatcom County? How can we do those things while we're keeping our neighbors safe and while we're keeping our environment safe? From what I've learned about the shipping terminal, we're doing work to mitigate storm water, making sure the bay is safe, making sure marine life is safe. What I don't want to have happen is the missteps of the port. I don't want that to make people think that just because that's the way it's been done, that's the way it has to be moving forward.
Okay, thank you. Okay, question number 4. So this is around the budget. So how do you propose, and we're going to start, by the way, with candidate James. How do you propose to continue the port's cleanup and development work in light of the likely reduction in federal grants under the current federal administration? Go ahead.
Yeah, this is a really challenging issue that uh, I just learned from our city and county. These are things that we're facing here locally and all over the country. I think that the lesson here is that we need our organizations and our economy to have a resiliency to the whims of federal funding. So that means making sure that our port properties are activated. We have businesses doing business here. We're bringing in those revenues so that we can afford the cleanup. I'm a first-time candidate. I'm stepping into this role with fresh eyes, and there's a lot for me to learn. So I'm excited to learn more about where we're at with the cleanup and the costs and what we can do to make sure that we can afford to get that work done, because without a clean bay, without clean water, there's no marine trades, there's no work to do here. So we've got to get it done. So I yield the rest of my time.
Okay, thank you. So, candidate Bell, I'll read the question again. How do you propose to continue the port's cleanup and development work in light of the likely reduction in federal grants under the current federal administration? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to start out with the misnomer that it is the federal grants that are the greatest villain in this. The greatest villain in this is the state legislature. Last year, they swept $50 million from the Motka funding and put it into the general fund. The year before that, this year they swept $70 million into the general fund. The state of Washington taxes your gasoline in order to create this Motka fund. It taxes the refineries. That fund is specifically to do cleanup. It was not meant for general fund use. So our greatest threat is the state legislature continuing to sleep millions and millions of dollars into their general fund. And I'm quite angry about the legislature doing that. But quite frankly, we have a number of cleanups in process. We started with 13. We have 2 completed. We have more that are more than halfway through. They're in the budget. They're baked into the cake for the next 5 years for the initial budget. So we'll take that. We'll try to work all of the other things that are demanded by this community around those cleanups, because they really are a priority. But really, the state needs to step up and stop sweeping our Motka funds into their general fund. Um, that's probably the most important aspect of this.
Okay, thank you. So, question number 5, and we'll start with you, candidate Bell. So this is about procurement reform and oversight. So a 2024 state audit found flaws in the port's federal procurement processes and internal controls. What steps would you take to strengthen oversight and ensure compliance with procurement standards at the port? Go ahead.
Well, this it's one of the reasons that you're looking at a little bit of a change. But for the most part, this port has been impeccably run from an economic standpoint. Last year, we had a small violation that was a reporting violation that was not significant, did not impact any of the taxpayers' money. The staff that we have has got a great accountability loop. We have a tremendous amount of oversight on our ability to run the budget and keep the rules and regulations in place. In my entire time, we've never had a violation. We had one that was a clerical, as I will call it, error from the financial standpoint. But from that standpoint, we have an amazing group, and we have oversight, and we get audited every year. We pay over $80,000 to have an independent auditor come in and audit our books, independent from us, to make sure that we have overseen and done things properly. So I'm going to continue down that road. The most important thing for us is that we have managed to balance our budget. We are not in the hole like the city and the county. Things are more expensive, but we have been very financially disciplined at the port. And so from a financial standpoint, our port is very well run.
Okay, thank you. So candidate James, I suspect you want me to read the question again,
That
right?
would be great. Yes.
Okay. A 2024 state audit found flaws in the port's federal procurement processes and internal controls. What steps would you take to strengthen oversight and ensure compliance with procurement standards at the port? Go ahead.
So two things. I do know that, the port has a staff of very dedicated and hardworking experts. Um, I question what Ken just said about the port. I'm sorry, I'm paraphrasing what you just said about the port being great and being run well. We don't have an executive director. So the fact that that just happened indicates otherwise. And what I would say to that is, I'm somebody who appreciates, stepping back, looking at a business, looking at an organization, looking at its culture. And we all know that that culture, the way businesses are run, it flows from the top down. So the commission has the ultimate responsibility of setting the tone for the culture of the company and the way that it behaves and, following rules, making sure things are done um, legally and properly. That tone is set from the top. And then, the person that the commission has direct impact over hiring and firing is the executive director. So if there were issues going on, and these things have been building up for a while, I think we can all appreciate that this commission finally stepped up and did something about it. But if it were me, I would have stepped in much sooner. And I also think that the commission needs to ensure that there's HR functions beyond hiring and firing to make sure that we're evaluating the performance of the executive director.
Okay, thanks. Okay, question number 6. And this is about airport growth, and we'll start with you, candidate James. With projects including expanded commercial flights to Mexico, a new traffic control tower, and a runway repaving underway, how will you ensure such expansions are financially sustainable? Go ahead.
Um, so I've been really enjoying learning more and diving into our airport. I think one of the things that we're doing is we sort of throw out visions and ideas of things that we want without having measurable things to measure them by. So my goal for the airport is I want to make it so that no one north of Everett considers driving to SeaTac again, because our airport takes travelers where they need to go when they want to go. And I think the first step in bringing flights back to our airport and doing it in a financially sustainable way is having stable leadership from the port. Airlines want leadership that listens, that honors its word, and invests in its facilities. So there's other things that I'm interested in with the airport. I think that we have an incredible opportunity to be the shortcut to the skies for Whatcom, Skagit, San Juan counties, lower mainland BC. We can attract these customers by improving access to and from those areas. I also want to look at the airport as a showcase of Whatcom County's identity. Some of the things I love about going to airports is being able to take in that local flair. So I think adding a culture component and a way to showcase who we are, define Whatcom County would be a great addition.
Okay, thank you. So candidate Bell, I'll read the question again. With projects including expanded commercial flights to Mexico, a new traffic control tower, and runway repaving, how will you ensure such expansions are financially sustainable? Go ahead.
Well, and I hate to do this, Carly, but this is where you show a little bit of the inexperience. Everything that you just described is paid for by the FAA. There's not a single penny of that that comes from the Port of Bellingham, nor is the approval of that come from the Port of Bellingham. The airport tower, the airport runways, all of that is funded federally because the airport itself is completely under the control of the FAA. The port has zero jurisdiction over what money gets spent on those things. From a viability standpoint, the best thing that we can do is stop relying on Canada for our customer base. We have watched this airport go up and down based on the Canadian dollar, based on the inflow of Canadians and outflow of Canadians. The best thing we can do for this airport is try to increase the amount of tourism that we bring into the region so that we have a reason for people to want to come here, which will then compel the airlines to want to bring flights here. Again, the port has no control over the airlines. The airlines pick and choose their routes based on profitability. We are not a profitable place. We are not a destination. We need to change that. If we put in facilities in Fairhaven to bring cruise lines in, or we brought in tourism activities that suddenly generated a ton of people flying into the region, we would generate flights. We would keep the economic viability of the community up, but it has nothing to do with airport construction.
Okay, thank you. So question
Can
number,
I put
oh,
my
sure.
card up?
Okay,
Um,
Jeff,
because I
go
just,
ahead.
yeah, I
So
just wanted to have a little bit more time because I'm glad that Ken highlighted my inexperience. And it's true, Ken's had this job for 8 years. I have not. So I guess I just wanted to take a moment to say that's kind of the point. Ken's had an opportunity for the last 8 years to help nurture and grow our airport, and we're still back where we were 8 years ago. So I do think fresh perspective is really valuable here.
Okay, thank you. So Ken, go ahead. You have 30 seconds.
mine's not as pretty as yours. Well done, by the way. Nice challenge card. No, it's irrelevant. I mean, it's done by the FAA. The question she asked was about that. The Port of Bellingham has had no control over what the FAA has approved or not approved. When it came to airport expansion or international flight terminals, the airport does not have the ability to, the port has no ability to do that. And some of these things, you need the experience just to understand how that dial gets turned.
Okay, thank you. So we're ready for question number 7, and we're going to start with you, Ken.
We get to throw these away now, right?
Yes, you can. You only get one. Well, you haven't challenged her yet,
I
so
did.
you get one.
Oh, I got a response free?
Free response.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, question number 7, Candidate Bell. What is your vision for the redevelopment of the waterfront? Go ahead.
Yeah, this one is one I love. We didn't, I guess I'll go back to saying that one of the things that the port's been wrapped up in has been litigation to try to get control of that waterfront back. That litigation started before I became a port commissioner, and it lasted the entire 7 years. We just finally got out of that litigation in May. The one lesson learned from that is that we are now drafting contracts that give us the power, the port, rather than the other side, which is a glaring misstep. But the vision for the downtown waterfront, I would love to see the uptown area work its way down into the waterfront. I think it works with the tribe as we do a project with them that would come down into the Bay Street area, that would overlook the bridge, come down into a parking garage, that would go down into a waterfront that would be spectacular. I have seen spectacular redevelopment programs. You look at McGregor Square in Denver, you look at the Shinola factory in Detroit, you look at any major urban area, they have got amazing waterfronts. We can do that if we plan it and we do it holistically. We talk to the community, we tell them what we're going to do, but we put a unified, cohesive plan together for the entire area. In the past, we've done it piecemeal. Doesn't need to be that. Now that we've got control of it, we have a chance to restart the area and make it something special.
Okay, thank you. So Candidate James, what is your vision for the redevelopment of the waterfront? Go ahead.
So this one is particularly close to my heart because I'm here and I came down here because I wanted to be part of this redevelopment. The one thing that we have really gotten wrong is our connection to downtown. So it's, access is challenging. You can't easily have a saunter down here, walking, wayfinding, infrastructure like parking and restrooms. So I think coming back to a larger scale vision of what we as a community want to see down here. I think that we need to go back to the plans that we drew up. This process started over 20 years ago. Things have changed. So we need to go back to the drawing board, go back to the community and hear from them what their vision is, and then work with them to actually realize a community vision instead of what the port wants. Because I think that what we've seen is that the port is perhaps not the best developer. They do things really well. Developing this new part of town isn't one of them. So the things that I'm hearing from being here, we want visitor moorage. We want public access. We want to make sure that our shoreline is being used for water dependent uses, so that we can, uplift marine trades. Our waterfront culture is what's so important, and we want to be a part of that.
Okay, thank you. So we're now at question number 8, and this is the last question. So we're going to start with you, candidate James. So here, the question's around broadband access and rural infrastructure. The Port's 2025 update reports it secured grants to extend broadband to underserved areas like Point Roberts and other underserved areas in Whatcom County. What are your plans to ensure equitable use of these funds for internet access across rural parts of the Port District? And when will these installations occur? Go ahead, candidate James.
So yeah, people in rural Whatcom County and Port Roberts deserve access to the world. I can tell you that when I was a student at Western getting my accounting degree, this was during the pandemic. We all had to shift to online learning. And I had professors who live out in the county, and that connectivity was really challenging. So it's 2025. This is something that we all need access to, and it's an important economic tool. I want to make sure that the port is partnering in the most effective way, getting this project done as quickly as possible, in whatever means are available to the port. Again, talking about these things incredibly specifically is going to be hard for someone like me because I'm basically like 4 months into learning what this job entails. When I come to a decision that I don't have all the answers to, I look back at what my values are. And so showing up, listening, building trusting relationships. If those tools are ways that we can ensure we can get this job done for Whatcom County, then that's the work that I'm going to do.
Okay, thank you. So, candidate Bell, I'll read the question again. The Port's 2025 Port Update reports it secured grants to extend broadband to underserved areas like Point Roberts and other underserved areas of Whatcom County. What are your plans to ensure equitable use of these funds for internal access across rural parts of the Port District? And when will these installations occur? Go ahead.
So those plans and that funding, the funding was based on a plan that was already pre-approved. So that funding is primarily going to go to the areas that have been designated by the previously established locations. What I think is what we're talking about here is what are we going to do with future? Because that cake has already been baked. The future of broadband is more than just broadband. There are a number of different avenues today that we didn't have pre-pandemic for solving this problem. We have Starlink. We have got a number of different available options that aren't as costly that will provide underserved areas perfectly well. And we've already seen that take place in some of the more underserved areas where that is actually taking hold. I know it works really well. My job takes me to very, very remote locations, and we use that as a mechanism. But from a broadband standpoint, economic development today has got more challenges than we know what to do with. Priorities would be more towards how do we create jobs? How do we keep industrial ground? How do we maintain what we've got? The funding for broadband is going to come as the federal government decides it's going to fund it, and then we'll make allocations where it's most needed.
Okay, thank you. So candidates, you now have an opportunity to make a 1-minute closing statement. So candidate Bell, we'll start with you. Go ahead.
I've never done anything in a minute in my life. So I wanted to say thank you again for this opportunity. I was elected in 2017, spent most of that time nursing a lawsuit that we shouldn't have been in. So now we've finally got the opportunity. We've finished cleanups. We've got things working. The entirety of my last term has been doing cleanups on the waterfront. It's been litigation for attempting to do things, but in spite of that, we have an activated shipping terminal, which we didn't have before I got here. We have an activated industrial park on Marine Drive that we didn't have before I got here. The airport industrial park has been activated with a new commercial development. Fairhaven is increasing in its tourism and boat building. Our ag land has been used now for a new research facility, which we're happy to put on the board. And quite frankly, rail service is going to be a tremendous asset to jobs. That's the job of the port, is for us to continue to do economic development and bring working wage jobs into this community.
Okay, thank you. So candidate James, your closing statement, please.
Okay, thanks again for hanging out tonight. I just want to say, if you're still undecided about who to vote for, there are resources available to you to make an informed choice. The voter pamphlet, Cascadia Daily News. Come to the candidate forum hosted by the Working Waterfront Coalition next month. And if you want to chat with me, you can find me here at my shop at the Granary. Most Fridays, 11 to 5. Call first if you want to make sure that I'm here. As you know, I'm a first-time candidate. Engaging in this process has been transformative and eye-opening. We owe Ken Bell a debt of gratitude for stepping up to do this hard work for the past 8 years. He just listed off all these wonderful achievements, and I just ask, how is your life better? How has the port made your life better? You have a choice in this election between voting for someone we've had and someone we know, or voting for a fresh start with a hardworking and dedicated leader who knows what it takes to survive and thrive here. I would be honored to earn your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I want to thank you both for being here today and for your interest in running for public office. I think it takes an incredible commitment of time, money, and energy and courage to run for public office. So thank you. Voters, you can find more information about the candidates online at votewild.gov and in your voter pamphlet. So just a reminder that ballots will be mailed on October 15th. Your ballot must be postmarked or in a ballot drop box before 8 p.m. on Tuesday, November 4th. Please remember to sign the ballot envelope, and if mailing by postal service, we recommend mailing early, but please vote. Thank you and good night.